Hello and welcome to a new video part of the Beginner Beekeepers playlist. Thank you so much for the support within the last couple of weeks. We've had 100% likes across all of the videos. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at disease identification. If you're an amateur beekeeper, then you're going to need to know this, and if you're an experienced beekeeper, then you're also going to need to touch up on this. Because it's in the UK, we're not going to look at the small hive beetle in depth. Let's start off with the two major diseases here in the UK: American foul brood and then European foul brood. So AFB is a disease of a sealed brood. So brood can be patchy, cappings can look a little bit greasy. A major sign is also they'll be a bit perforated, they'll have little holes on that across the cappings. So what do you do if you have AFB? So you obviously peel the cappings off, you get your matchstick and you put it in. Now if it comes out stringy, like snotty stuff, that means that AFB is unfortunately positive in your hive, and straight away you need to call the bee inspector. So a lot of people separate them for the one that the hives that you can recover and then the hives that you can't. So AFB is the more serious one, the one that you have to bin straight away. There's nothing you can do with it. I know that you can like scan it now, I'm not too sure about that, I'll have to read up on it. Okay, so I've had a little look at it. You can gamma ray the hive to kind of disinfect it, and then you can use the hives, but obviously not the wax. And obviously the bees, unfortunately, have to be killed. Let's move on swiftly to the next disease, EFB or European foul brood. So this is a disease where you can actually use the shook swarm method to kind of recover the hives. So how do you find this? So it's usually a bit discoloured and it kind of looks like it's been melted down. You could possibly find a bit of a different behaviour from the bees as well. If you do suspect that you have this in your colony, I'll throw a couple photos up on the screen of it. If you do suspect you have this in your colony, then go and see your bee inspector. So we're going to move on to CBPV, which is chronic bee paralysis virus. So here you will see that the bees have loss of hair. The bees will kind of be paralysed, and because of the loss of hair, the bees will be a lot darker. That's kind of quite hard to see, but the main thing would be that they'll be paralysed, they can't move. Bees react differently to each other, and if a colony does have CBPV, then the wings will assemble like a K. It will look like a K. So unfortunately at the moment there is no treatment for the virus, but there may be in the future, and a lot of colonies, if there's only early stages of CBPV, then they can recover. When those die, it won't really pass on. So that takes us on to DWV, which is deformed wing virus.
Feeling so small, watch the clock ticking off the wall.
This is because the mites, they feed off the bee's fat body. So this will usually happen in the early stages of a bee. Thankfully, this can actually be treated with Burrower. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Nosema. It's just what I do when I'm out, so try not to hold me down, feel alive. So as many of you will know, there's two different Nosemas. There's Nosema apis and then Nosema cerana. So you can't really tell too much that they've got a form of Nosema, but what you will see is leftovers, let's say that, on the top of the bars. You may also see it at the hive entrance, where they've just kind of deposited outside the front of the hive. So you'll also notice that the hive doesn't build up as much as it should during the season. So there's actually no treatment for Nosema, although Vita Gold can help with Nosema. So, if you are a beekeeper or becoming a beekeeper, you've probably heard of Burrower. If you are a beekeeper, then you probably already treat for Burrower using ApiGuard or oxalic acid or max strips. Any of those, there's tons of treatments out there. People have different preferences, but we use ApiGuard and we're going on to oxalic vapor in March, hopefully. So the research basically says that the Burrower isn't actually it's actually just feeding on the fat bodies of the bee, which is even worse than what we thought before, because now it's just being eaten alive in the colony and it's just clinging onto its back. And obviously there is times where you see the bee, or especially in videos, with another bee will kind of try and get it off, but Burrower doesn't seem to be too big of a problem with us, because we obviously treat, we used to treat twice with ApiGuard and obviously oxalic acid then. So Burrower is really not nice. Obviously that can result in CBPV and cashmere virus. You really do want to treat, but they will kind of build up an immune system to Burrower if you don't treat. Okay, so the next virus we're looking at is sac brood. So sac brood is where the larvae goes and dies in the cell. Then you'll be able to see it. The sign is that it will be the capping of the cell will be perforated. So it will look a bit like a Chinese slipper, but unfortunately for sac brood, there's no treatment. But the bees will clean it all out as best as they can. So in most cases this is a genetic condition. So you'll be able to tell the cappings of the brood, it'll kind of be lipped. If you do see this, I'm sure you're just supposed to remove it. Okay, so this a lot of time is also from wax moth. So what you need to do is actually try your best to try and get rid of wax moth that are laying in cells and running about the hive. They're a massive pain. We got hit so bad last year with wax moth, and I'm sure there's something like a B401, I'll put the link in the description, from Vita, which is supposed to kill wax moth. Okay, so next we're going to look at the fungus, which is chalk brood. So this will occur in the hive quite a lot. There's nothing you could do about it. So a lot of the time the bees actually drag the chalk brood out of the cell and just dump it out on the landing board outside your hive. Some people say RHE Queen, and some people just say sterilise the frames and you'll be okay. Okay, so finally we're going to look at the Asian Hornet. There's been a lot of heat on these at the minute as they've been coming into the UK, and thankfully the bee inspectors have done a great job of getting rid of them. So you'll see them hawking around the front of the hives. If you watch, I'll leave the link in the description, Richard Knoll, he's done a video on the Asian Hornet hawking outside his hives. And it's naturally, if you type it in, they will wipe out a colony like that. If it's weak, it's gone. So the queens can be 30mm and the adult workers can be 25mm, which if you put that in perspective it would be a hell of a lot. So obviously if you do see an Asian Hornet, try your best to trap it, or at least take a video of it around the hive and notify the bee inspectors straight away. There's an app on your smartphone called Asian Hornet Watch. You're able to click it straight away and it'll give you the number for the bee unit, and it'll also tell you where Asian Hornets are about. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed the video. Thanks for all the support. If you have any recommendations, please leave a comment, and also like the video if you have enjoyed and this video has helped you. And again, don't forget to subscribe.